So I watched Hasbin Hotel and I really enjoyed it, everything from the great characters, music, and I loved the comedy in it. I can't wait for the second season to come out, and until then, I decided I would make a video about this season. Specifically about Valentino, a character I don't really care for either way, but from what I've seen on the internet, people really genuinely hate. And I agree, he is an extremely hateable character, not because he's written badly or anything like that, but because of what he's done in the show and what he stands for. Before I go any further, I'm going to be going deep into the show here, so if you haven't watched the show yet, give it a shot, and see if you like it, then come back to the video afterwards so you don't get spoiled. Anyway, he's a very disturbing and messed up character, to put it lightly, and some people have asked the question, why is Valentino so hated, even though he's supposed to be the bad guy? Whereas characters like the Joker, who have also done horrible things to people that are just as bad, are actually genuinely well received by people and they like him for it. And I think it's a valid question. Putting my own personal biases aside, I wanted to see if there was anything that could be uncovered about this, to see what makes people's minds tick when looking at a character like the Joker, and thinking he's awesome, but Valentino isn't, and I did come up with a few ideas, so let's see if it's hypocritical to like some of these other horrible villain characters who have done messed up stuff, but you still dislike Valentino for the stuff he's done. So before I start drawing parallels between Valentino and some other characters, let's break down why he's so disliked first. I'm going to be pulling back on some of the wording here because it's a sensitive subject, but if you've watched the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. Alright, so to put it bluntly, Valentino abuses another character named Angel physically and mentally. This puts a ton of strain on Angel, and he tries his best to cover it up so the people around him don't notice. We get glimpses of Valentino's obsession with Angel when he first shows up on the show, and starts making threats about killing the people Angel is spending time with because he wants Angel to be with him all the time. So we can already see this guy can't bear to see Angel happy without him in the picture. Then as the story progresses, we see exactly how Valentino is when episode 4 rolls around. We see him taking advantage of Angel and also hurting and threatening him after Charlie comes to the set where Angel is filming. And the show doesn't hold back at all. You see very disturbing stuff that Valentino does to Angel, and you can tell he's enjoying every minute of it, while Angel is terrified and drowning in fear. Now right away when you see this, you have a knee-jerk reaction thinking this guy is a sick bastard, and that is 100% the right mindset to have when looking at this guy. Even after Angel gets his song, which by the way is amazing both from a musical perspective and a story analysis perspective, you just hate Valentino even more because you see how much suffering and trauma he's caused Angel, which makes the scene where Angel confronts Valentino at the nightclub that much better. To see Angel stand up to that sack of crap and having his friends back. Valentino is a terrible person, but his character, as awful and hateable as he is, makes Angel's story and character much more layered than what you would think of him in the first 3 episodes. Angel's great in those first few episodes, but at first I thought Angel would be the quagmire of the show and was just there to make funny explicit jokes. This made you really care for Angel's well-being and makes you want to cheer for the character to overcome the suffering that has been done to him. It makes Angel's progress at the Hasbin Hotel mean so much more because it's not just becoming a nice person. We see Angel is already kind to people he hasn't even considered to be close friends, but rather it's more about Angel's personal struggles and the decisions he may have made as alluded to in his song. This makes Angel stand out so much more from the other members of the cast, and it explains why he's such a fan favorite. So with that terrible relationship explained, it's easy to see why people hate Valentino, and it's a very justifiable hate. So now let's compare Valentino to the other messed up and disgusting villain, the Joker, who's very well loved and a massive fan favorite in almost anything he's in. So the Joker, just like Valentino, has ruined so many characters' lives, we'd be here for a while if I had to list them all. But let's focus on the similarities when it comes to abusive relationships. Obviously, there's Harley Quinn, where Joker constantly does everything in his power to manipulate her in every possible way.
There was only one time I ever saw Dad really happy. He took me to the circus when I was 7.
What was it he told that one parole officer? Oh yes. There was only one time I ever saw Dad really happy. He took me to the ice show when I was 7.
Circus. He said it was the circus.
Harley first got infatuated with the Joker when she was trying to understand him and see what makes him tick. And the Joker was able to win her over as she began to delve deep into his psyche, and it led to one of comics' most toxic relationships. And the other very obvious parallel to Valentino would be in The Killing Joke, where the Joker shows up to Batgirl's place and shoots her and causes her to become paralyzed. He then proceeds to take revealing pictures of her since she can't fight back. Then he strips Commissioner Gordon and puts him on a ride where he shows the pictures he took of his daughter Barbara to him in order to break him mentally. This is just some of the horrible shit the Joker's done, and he's done much more than this, like manipulating Superman to kill his wife and unborn child. He killed Robin, and I'm sure comic book fans who have read a ton more comics than me could also list off horrible stuff I've left out. So now the question is, if the Joker is a terrible or even worse person than Valentino, why is Valentino so hated but the Joker isn't? The answer is a combination of timing and subject matter. Let me explain what I mean by that, because there's going to be many different versions of this answer, but it all falls under the same umbrella. So for Hasbin Hotel, Valentino right away is shown to be doing rancid, horrid to Angel. It may not be as heavy as in episode 4, but prior, you get many glimpses from the messed up phone calls of him asking Angel to come back nicely, then flipping on a dime and leaving messed up messages, which did remind me of Family Guy when Herbert left those messages for Chris when he was a paperboy and didn't see him around his house anymore. And both at first are played for laughs because that's what the scene is trying to convey in a comedic way. Look how weird these characters are. But Hasbin Hotel actually makes you realize how messed up those phone messages are given later context, while Family Guy never does and keeps it purely comedic. Then the show just goes full throttle, showing you how much of a monster Valentino is. Looking back after completing season 1, pretty much from the word go, Valentino was portrayed in the most uncomfortable way. Now let's take a look at the Joker. Other than his debut in comics, most of the public would have seen him for the first time when he was portrayed by Cesar Romero on the old Batman show. And Cesar Romero's Joker was, well, I hate to sound redundant, but a clown. So when the Joker was introduced, he wasn't doing anything horrible, he was just doing a lot of what we would call today campy. And people liked it, and he got fans from doing it back in 1966. Nothing this Joker did was heavy-handed, and much more family-friendly. He truly lived up to his name as the Clown Prince of Crime. Then many years later, we had the Tim Burton Joker played by Jack Nicholson. Now this Joker was much more serious, but again, nothing that would be on the same level as to what Valentino does to Angel. And again, Jack's portrayal of the Joker made him a very likable villain. And the cycle kept repeating itself with Mark Hamill's Joker in the 90s Batman TV show and the Justice League, and then the Dark Knight all the way up to the newest Joker film. The Joker has always been a deranged madman to audiences, and that's how he's always been built up. But while Joker did horrible things to people because audiences knew how twisted he was, they actually would want the opposite of toning it down. They wanted the Joker to do worse and worse things and to be taken more seriously in his role as Batman's arch nemesis. So you see, the Joker was introduced and had been built up over many years to become the now infamous and evil person we know him to be today. And comic book storytellers and Hollywood always try to push him into becoming a bigger monster each time round to shock and awe audiences, which is what fans have come to expect of him for many years. If Cesar Romero's Joker back in 1966 did exactly what Valentino had done to Angel within the span of a handful of episodes, I'm willing to bet the Joker would have been hated by many people right away, and he'd have garnered less fans over the years. Especially back then, when you wouldn't see material this disturbing back then on television for superheroes. And while incarnations of the Joker have done disgusting and unforgivable things that many people would hate, people also have the ability of picking which version of the Joker they like if they don't like the other versions of him. The Joker doesn't have one fixed continuity. He has many different stories and versions of himself that's always been changing. So some may like Mark Hamill's Joker the best, including me, or some might favor Heath Ledger. And each Joker very much played to the audience and time period they were introduced in, and knew what subject matter to touch on to make audiences enjoy the character. Maybe if Valentino was given more time to simmer and they had other avenues of his personality to explore, then after many more episodes they hit you with what he's been doing to Angel, maybe he wouldn't be as hated. But with the first season only getting greenlit for 8 episodes, I understand why the show was paced as it was, which again would fall under timing. Since we're on the subject of pacing as well, take Darth Vader for example. When he was first introduced back in Star Wars, aka A New Hope, he made a huge impression on audiences and people loved him as a villain. It wasn't until years later you would see him slaughter younglings, and even then, they built up to that point, making you see Anakin as a young boy struggling with loss and fear, and how that turned him to do such an evil thing. So there was breathing room for that, so it didn't sour Vader for a lot of people. If his first appearance in A New Hope was him slaughtering younglings, I don't think people would have liked him nearly as much. Then there is just the subject matter itself. While Joker and Vader killing innocent people is horrible, it's not something many people encounter in their day-to-day life. So while horrible, there's that layer of unawareness of what that would actually be like to experience and go through on a personal level. Abuse, though, is something that unfortunately is more prominent in people's lives, and it makes what Valentino does to Angel much more real for a viewer and harder to watch. And while someone like the Joker does abuse Harley physically and mentally as well, Joker does not own Harley's soul. That's not to say leaving is easy. It's very hard, and sometimes people can't find a way out of it. However, in Harley's case, it would definitely be hard and difficult for her to undo all the manipulation the Joker has done to her, but it is doable at the very least. With Angel though, he literally, and I use the word on its actual definition with literally, cannot leave Valentino because Valentino owns his soul. Angel doesn't have an escape route, and no matter how much he wants to, he cannot get out of it. Or at the very least, Valentino won't let him out of it. So it's much more imprisoning than what Harley goes through with the Joker. And we've seen many instances where Harley does leave the Joker's side and lives her own life free of him, and doesn't want to go back to the relationship she had with the Joker. And even if I compare Valentino to other characters in Hasbin Hotel who do own someone's soul, we don't really see what these characters are putting those people through, so we can't draw any similarities between them and Valentino. Even when we get a glimpse of Alistair putting Husk on a chain and threatening him, he does it because of Husk's disobedience, and right after Husk apologizes, he leaves him alone. And prior to that, we don't see Alistair treat Husk badly. It's obviously bad that Alistair even owns souls, but he's a mystery for the most part, and he has done things to help people, even if it may have been to his own benefit, I'm sure. But nobody in Hasbin Hotel who owns a soul has been shown to treat them anywhere near as soul-crushing as Valentino has. So it is justified why people would hate Valentino, and it doesn't surprise me at all how hated that character is. I don't believe, from what I've mentioned, that it's in any way hypocritical to like other villainous characters and to dislike Valentino. Regardless of me not caring for Valentino at all, I have to give credit to the creator and the team behind Hasbin Hotel for doing a good job of making a very unsympathetic villain. But these are just my thoughts on the matter that I wanted to share with you guys, so let me know what you guys think about this. Firstly, do you like or dislike Valentino? And keep it civil in the comments, please. Separate the character from a real person, no matter where they may stand on this subject. And if you do like him, what's the reason? Is it because you like the character's design, personality, or just how evil he is? And I'm going to pose a big question to everyone in the comments. I seriously doubt this will happen in the show, but if Valentino ever sought redemption at the Hasbin Hotel, would you want Charlie to help him? Not only do I look forward to reading your responses, I look forward to what Season 2 of Hasbin Hotel has in wait for us. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time. Nath out. Hey everybody, thanks again for watching the video, and I hope everyone is happy and healthy, and having a great day. I just wanted to let you guys know I'm thinking about making other TV show videos down the road, and I hope you'll enjoy them as much as my gaming stuff. I want to see where it goes, and if you'll enjoy it, hopefully you will. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.